I was in the mood for a horror movie and I was recommended The Strangers. I guess it looked interesting enough. It looked like a home invasion movie, and there were some masks, and the director was like, we're not gonna do cliches.
To strip away what I kind of feel are some of the genre cliches, and soon all the films look the same and all the vibes are the same.
But not only was this film chock full of cliches, but the tone was deadly serious, which led to some unintentional hilarity and entertainment. It felt like it was trying to be in the same vein of like Funny Games or Scream, but what I guess the writer-director failed to understand is that those films succeeded because they had a level of self-awareness. They were almost a parody. They were cliche on purpose, so that they could mock not only the genre itself, but its viewers.
Macht Schluss. Es ist genug. Es ist genug? Meinen Sie wirklich, es ist genug?
Dass Sie machen, was Sie wollen, bitte. Dann ist es schneller zu Ende.
Pfui, das ist aber feig. Wir sind doch noch unter Spielfilmlänge. Ist es schon genug?
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I like that movie. It was scary.
Well, the first one was, but the rest sucked.
And because the film lacks that element of satire, it ends up just being stuffy, boring, and sometimes funny. Let's get into it.
What you are about to see is inspired by true events.
As soon as I saw this, I was immediately skeptical. Usually horror movies slap this on like a sticker to be like, you should be scared because this was a real thing that happened and it could happen to you. Isn't that scary? But usually if you put in the effort to look into what these stories are supposedly based on, you'll find that they have a very loose use of based on a true story. The idea for this film was based on the Sharon Tate murders committed by the Manson family, but pretty much the only similarities it had to the real life incident was people broke into a house and people were murdered, and did not involve any kind of masks or cat and mouse bullshit or jump scares. Wait a second, a jump scare with a loud musical sting with no prior setup? Isn't that a horror movie cliche?
To strip away genre cliches.
Ah, fuck it. Another inspiration for the story was this childhood incident that the director had. But still, the only through line is that somebody broke into a house. Absolutely nothing else has anything to do with the real life incident. So after our "This is Scary" sticker, we start the movie on a shot of our couple sitting in a car crying. I hope you enjoy this nice lighting because the rest of the movie is gonna look really, really brown. We learn that our couple is sad because woman rejects man marriage proposal, and the man asks friend to pick him up in the morning. Suddenly, a knock. Oh, hello, ma'am. You're looking particularly evil and underlit today. Mr. Man tries to turn the light on, but it doesn't work, so they tell her to leave, and then they twist the light bulb a little bit, and it turns back on. Oh, okay. I guess there's two lights. I guess him twisting that bulb fixed both lights? Unless that one light was supposed to be on the whole time, in which case shouldn't her face be a little fucking brighter than this? Or did they just forget to show him fixing the other light? Whatever. Almost immediately after this happens, Our Lady vocalizes her nicotine addiction.
I'm out of cigarettes.
Which is a lie, because we see in a later shot she has at least one cigarette. If you have at least one cigarette, you are not out of cigarettes. And if you seriously have a heavy nicotine addiction, then she probably has a few laying loose around anyhow. Man decides he can prove he loves her by immediately feeding into her chemical addiction.
I'll go get you some more.
So he sets out to get her cigarettes at 4 in the morning. They both could have easily held out for a couple hours until it was a reasonable time to go out to a store. She has at least one cigarette, she can probably last that long, but we need these characters to separate as soon as possible so that they're easier to kill. Right after he leaves, their fireplace sets the smoke alarm off, And when she disarms it, a spooky knocking causes her to drop the alarm to the floor. She's understandably freaked out by this and retrieves her cell phone. Her cell phone's out of battery, so she plugs it in and then she goes to get the landline phone in order to call her husband. Because I guess she doesn't realize that you can use cell phones while they're plugged in. They don't become like paperweights when they're being charged. You can still use them. Don't you want to call the police? You're obviously distressed and you seem worried enough to call your husband. But you won't call the police? The strangers are still knocking during all of this, by the way. Just in case you forgot, they show us this shot to remind you that the thing's still on the floor. They pretty much needed to, because you can actually see it on the floor when it first falls. Because the framing in this movie is fucking poor. And you can never see anything below the character's waists. Lady decides that now she's in an incredibly stressful situation and her boyfriend's out getting her cigarettes, that now's the time to start smoking cigarettes.
Will you just stay on the phone with me? James?
So right before she starts sparking up, the phone line very clearly gets cut, and instead of going to her cell phone to call 911 or to recall her husband, she just starts smoking and hydrating. Also, why is the stranger standing there, by the way? I get that he's supposed to be creepy, but for who? For us? Because she clearly can't see him, and he's not trying to scare her, and that's the whole reason they're there, right? Is to scare and kill them. So why did he just like give up? I don't really feel like it. I'll catch you in a few minutes. Anyway, she hears even more knocking. And she arms herself with a knife. She tries the landline again, but of course it doesn't work. But then she sees that the fire alarm has moved from the floor to the chair. Okay, you've realized that there is a stranger in your house and you're terrified for your life. Action. Alright, that's perfect. She tries to get her cell phone, but it's been stolen. If only she had another opportunity to use it before. She then investigates the noise by the screen door. And she lifts the drapery up a little bit with her knife. And she decides that out of the 1mm she could see out of that, it must be clear. So she yanks the curtain open at full strength. Because, you know, the jump scare wouldn't be effective if she just opened it super slowly. So she's gotta yank that shit. She runs away, and the record player starts playing creepy music.
Cliche.
And then we get this hilarious scene of the door opening. It's so clearly footage that they like slowed down in editing to make it look creepier. Like they realized they opened the door too fast, and I guess they couldn't be fucked to do another take, so we'll just slow it down and we'll slow it down in post. It'll look great. I feel like there are a couple reasonable reactions to this, like hide, or close the door and hide, or open the door and use your knife. One of them definitely is not slowly put your head in the crack of the door in a POV shot. That's clearly the setup for a jump scare. She locks the door and runs to their room, and she tries to hide under the bed, but she won't fit, so she tries to turn the lamp off, which would give away her position in a house that has all the lights on. But that she drops it on her foot because she's dumb. And then she just accepts her fate as a creepy person walks towards the door frame. So I guess the man came home to a locked or broken into door and creepy record music, and he didn't see his wife anywhere. He decided this was fine, and he didn't call for her or announce his arrival, and just stalked through the hallways completely silently. So she explains the situation to him, and they decide to go check out the basement to see if there's intruders, and then they see this.
She's watching us.
She looks like a ghost.
She's gone.
So they see the creepy stranger, and then when they look back, she's gone. Also love the dialogue here.
She's watching us. She's gone.
Like it completely gives away that there's gonna be a creepy thing outside the window, so we're not shocked at all. It probably would have worked better like this.
Kristen, what is it?
She's watching us.
Conveniently, the man forgot his phone in the car.
Shit. I left my phone in the car. I'm gonna go get it.
So he goes to get it and he gets touched on the shoulder. The strangers are supposed to be regular people, I assume. They don't, like, they're always just pictured as in regular ass people. Apparently they can run away super fast and super silently. Throughout the entire movie, they just disappear without a sound. They can teleport apparently. That makes it scary. His car's been ransacked and his phone's stolen, so he heads back to the house and his wife fake out jump scares him for no reason. With the most obnoxious musical sting in the world. So they're like, let's get to the car and drive away, but then a stranger rear ends them in a truck. Man decides that now's a good time to get the good old shotgun out, and then they head to the bedroom to stuff his pockets full of shotgun shells like a Thanksgiving turkey. And then they're preparing to run outside, but then a stranger puts an axe through the door, and then he's like, oh crap. Instead of using my shotgun that's in my hands, we should barricade the door and put ourselves in physical danger because it would be too scary if we just shot at them with the shotgun from back here. Wait. Where's he had the in the last shot, he had the shotgun in his hands. Where'd the shotgun go? They're not in his Where'd the shotgun? This is the clip. This is the edit right here. Look at this.
Open the door, and I just want you to run, okay?
One scene, it's in his hands, cut. Not in his hands anymore. Where's the shotgun? Oh, it's on the floor. Of course it is. So I guess sometime around here, he has put the shotgun on the ground for no reason. You know, it would have been stupid, but it would have also been nice if the camera was just a little further back. If we actually had an angle where we could see anything that's not the characters and see the environment, we could have seen his hands are empty and or could have seen the shotgun was on the floor, and that would have been stupid, but at least we could have seen it. Instead, we're left to believe the shotgun's still in his hands because of this up-close, stuffy framing. And then, shotgun on the floor. Bam! Surprise! And while his wife loads the floor shotgun, man launches a genius attack with a chair. They have their first rational thought in the movie, which is to hold themselves up in the room with the shotgun and just point the shotgun at the door and wait for help to arrive. Conveniently enough, this is also when the friend decides to show up to pick up the man, and the strangers bait him into coming inside by throwing a rock at him or some shit. And when he goes inside, there's clearly like signs of a break-in, like nobody's home. And he probably knows that his friend has a gun, right? Because he's his friend. He'd probably know something like that. But still, considering all these factors, he doesn't decide to call out for them or to say, I'm here. Like, even if you think there might be strangers, you don't know where your friends are, you don't know if they're okay or not, you don't want to call out to them at all. I'm also starting to notice that this is a universe where people do not know how to use their cell phones to call the police. And then this stranger starts stalking up behind him like he's going to kill him, but I thought the plan was to bait them into the shotgun. Isn't that the whole reason you threw the rock at him, was to bait him inside to the shotgun so that they shoot him? And if that's the case, there's better solutions that don't involve exposing yourself. You can make noise near the room where they are. There's like a million things you can do to draw attention to the room with a shotgun without exposing yourself. Why are you trying to be creepy just for the audience, threatening to kill him? Then this shit happens. Let's ignore how hilarious this is, and also how stupid it is that he decided not to call out for his friends until he got to this door frame in particular. This particular door frame I'll decide to call out. Let's ignore that for a second, and let's talk about the editing here. Okay, we're rounding the corner here in 1/8 times speed, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cuts. They edited this movie in a fucking blender. After killing his friend, man remembers that there is an old radio in the barn, and he's gonna go out right now by himself to try and call for help. I don't know why they just can't go back in the room and do the shotgun plan again, unless, you know, you're expecting any more friends to come wandering into door frames. You could just wait a couple hours until the sun's out and then go to the barn. You don't have to go right now. He tries to get to the barn, and I guess nobody told him that the whole point of shotguns is that you don't have to aim, because he aims at this lady for like 5 seconds, but apparently it's not good enough, and then he gets captured. His shotgun goes off, and then the lady realizes he must be in trouble, so she too ventures out alone to the barn. As she runs out there, she injures her leg. And we get a dramatic scene of her getting chased while she's injured. It's okay though, because she disappears for no reason. She makes it to the radio, but a stranger smashes it as she's using it with a spooky scare sound cue. I love they added in a scream. It's so funny, like the sound cue wasn't bad enough, they added a scream. Like none of the characters are screaming, but here's a scream sound because this is how you're supposed to feel. She starts crawling back to the house and she sees some spooky strangers, but you never guess where they go. You'll never guess where the strangers go when she looks back. She makes it back to the house and she hides in a fucking closet. In a fucking closet? And we get constant POV shots of her in the closet, and she can only see one stranger, so guess what's gonna happen? It's not like there's at least 2 more around. Oh, I wonder what's gonna happen in this shot. So she runs out, and she gets knocked out, and they tie them up, and they ask why they're there.
Because you were home.
Pretty solid, you know. Just the Manson family committed the murders because they wanted, you know, to commit an act that shocked the masses. And that personal story from the director's childhood, more than likely were people trying to rob houses to get money. These people were just doing it because they wanted to, it was fun. Oh, we were around it and it looked like fun. We decided to do it. So they start stabbing the couple, and while they're getting stabbed, they start getting all lovey-dovey for no reason. And I can't help but try to imagine it in like any other movie.
It's okay. This is all gonna be okay.
I love you, honey. Anyway, they leave the woman alive for no reason, and then these like Jehovah's Witnesses kids come and they find the house, and they don't call the police after seeing there's a break-in, and they don't call the police after seeing there's a body, and they find the woman, and instead of, you know, getting help or trying to talk to her, he just slowly and dramatically leans down.
Some of
and
the
then
genre cliches that have kind of built up. I mean, I think
this is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.
Not in my movie.
Genre cliches that have kind of...
Two out of 10.